Hi, Panda here, and welcome to Ranking of Races. This is episode 8, and we're going to be adding Space Ribbon for the Nintendo Switch and Juice 2 Hot Import Nights for the Xbox 360. So before we get started, let's check out our current rankings, as you can see on the list here on the side. So our top 3, we've got Team Sonic Racing currently in 3rd place, followed by Blur in 2nd place, and Mario Kart 7 in 1st place. Fortunately, some games have dropped quite low on the list here, as you can see at the bottom. We've got Grand Tour, the game, which was a bit of an oddity, a bit of a strange one. Fuel, a game that tried really hard, but it's a big open world game, but had too many issues. So where our 2 games going to fit in today will be interesting. So let's check it out as usual. We'll do 3 races of each game, and then we'll decide and we'll discuss why we think, what we like of that and where we think they fit into our overall ranking. So let's do this. So first up, we've got Space Ribbon for the Nintendo Switch. So for obvious reasons, I've turned the music off just in case it gets flagged. So, but the music's kind of just like this generic sci-fi thing. No offense to it. It kind of does the job, but it's nothing memorable. So we'll put music to one side. Gameplay-wise, you're doing these races. You want to try and get to the end of the track, where the track is being made. But I'll explain a bit more as we race, and you'll see. Right, here's our first race. So all the races are set in like a space environment. Some of the races you can do, you can have weapons. Pretty standard and straightforward. Now, handling wise, the cars feel alright, but I'll show you now. But as you go to drift, they go all over the place, and it's really hard to lock the car back in. So this is probably not going to go well, but I just wanted to show how terrible the drift can be. So I wouldn't do it. As you can see, that panda over there, that spaceship, is making the track. Now you can either keep racing until you get to the very end, or if you're quick enough, you can actually get to the panda's head. If you hit the panda's head, you can actually finish the race that way. I find this game isn't the fastest. Now, obviously depends what difficulty you put it on. Depends how fast. Now, there's a lot of emphasis on slipstreaming. So, I like the idea of the tracks being made, but one thing you'll see in the 3 races we're doing is that this game really lacks variation. Like, if these tracks would be made like over the cool like planet world and stuff, but this literally, like, every map looks like this. It's like a different color of space, and you see some planets, but the track more or less looks the same. See, sometimes that happens. It goes further away. And look, as you can see, as the cars go very slow. Now later on you will get like faster cars, but to be honest, when I played this, I got a little bit too repetitive and not enough variations for me to want to actually carry on with the game. So it does have that, like, you could pick up a play and do a race and it'd be fine, but it is lacking that bit of like coming back. So we're going to show a few more races now. Okay, so this is a second race we're doing here, and as you can tell, you can get some like different visual modes. So this one does add something, but it is basically the same premise of environment. So yeah, it looks colorful, but like I said, the lack of like variations, and these tracks all feel the same, like just swirling around. Sometimes you've got edges on, sometimes not. You can change that in the difficulty. There are like cars that hover. For the 3rd race, we'll try the fastest cars that you can have. But there's not much to say. Like I said, drifting is terrible. I'm gonna be straight up. I usually like to see the best in things. I like the idea, like, it's these standard cars, like something like Mad Max or something, and some old bangers in here where it's just like, but it's the track design. I like the idea of the track being made, but it just really falls flat. It doesn't quite have like that fast speed or futuristic speed you would see from some other racing games that we will cover at some point as well. So, and the same with the weapons mode. The weapons mode kind of just has some missiles and shield. But I want to show you the super fast race, so we're going to pass on the weapons, but it really doesn't add much. And I can tell here, it's just a bit like repetitive, like every race in the game kind of feels like this. Even after doing 2 races now, I've kind of had my fill, but as tradition, we'll stick to doing 3 races to show you. There's some cool looking bits, don't get me wrong, and you can get some cool moments like, oh yeah, I'm really slipstream behind these people and I'm going to try and slingshot myself around and try and get to the end, but or we can finish it like that. So it's pretty quick. I think if you saw it cheap and you were out and about on the Switch and you're like, oh, I'll have a couple of races, I've only got a few minutes here and there, I could maybe see the appeal, but it's not seeming promising. Let's try the super race for our last race and then we'll come to a decision where it should go on our rankings. Okay, for our last race I've chosen the hardest difficulty and the fastest cars, and I've chosen our jet cars, the flying cars now, just so you can see a variation. So you can see there's already more speed here, so this feels a bit better for this, but like I said, still relying on the same track, but at least this speed definitely makes somewhat a bit more fun. But like I said, still lacks the track design, and as you might see from some of the games we're racing, especially futuristic games, you'll see how like a good track design can make a big difference doing. Obviously this is a lower budget game, but I still feel like even a lower budget you could like, they've obviously gone to the effort here of doing this cool thing where it actually rolls out a track. So I think you could like get it to like roll out a track, but like in some crazy swirls or like loop-de-loops or something. I think just to add a bit more. And like I said, the environments, I think if it was set on different planets, like here's a futuristic sea or here's like a volcano planet, but this far the vastness of space kind of just feels a bit odd. Once again, even on this high speed, it seems to slow down as soon as I'm not slipstreaming. This feels a little bit slow. It's a lot hollow and slow. I don't usually like to sound like I'm hating on the games. But there are some good quality champs this I like. The car design seem good. I like the idea of the track being printed out of this weird animal's face, which is a strange concept anyway, but it's definitely cool. If you saw it cheap and or if you got a chance to try it out, then and you're looking for something you can just pick up and play a little bit of, but I can't picture myself sitting here for an hour playing Space Ribbons, so but I'm gonna have a look on that list in a minute once we finish this race and we can decide where it is. And as always with ranking races, you can post in the comments where you think you would put this game in the rank, because obviously at the end of the day this is just my ranking. It's just down to my opinion of where I think these racing games fit on the list. I was always curious to see how people rank the racing games, so you can leave in the comment, go like, oh, I think whatever game, Space Ribbon should be at number 8, and one of the other games that we've already done, like higher up, like where would I put Mario Kart 7? Oh, I prefer Need for Speed Carbon over Need for Speed Heat, and things like that. So you can do that kind of thing. So let's pull up our list. So here's our current rankings here. Oh, this is difficult because now I've got to try and remember some of these games. Okay, I would still prefer to play Fuel over this. I had some fun in Fuel. It's just a little bit broken. And how to win the races and doesn't look great. Is this game better or worse than Gran Turismo game? Gran Turismo game had a weird like visual look to it, like someone put Vaseline in your eyes or something. Had like a weird fake blurriness to it. I'm not sure. Plus, if you were to play for the main story, you'd have to like watch the episode, do the fast forwarding thing. It's a real pain just to do like 1 minute bit. And this other normal single player is actually hidden in the multiplayer section, and you just race against bots. And the races aren't as long. You know what? This is a cleaner. Slightly easier to pick up and play, and doesn't make you suffer so much other stuff that's in the way. You can get more into races. So, you know what? I'm going to put this higher than Gran Turismo game, but it's not as good as Fuel. And we're back, and there you can see Space Ribbon sitting between Fuel and the Gran Turismo game. Now we're going to go over to our second game for this episode, Juiced 2 Hot Import Nights, and let's see how that does. Right, next up we've got Juiced 2 Hot Import Nights. This is kind of like a street racing game, a nighttime street racing game, although there's some daytime levels as well. You got Unitrus. Obvious reasons music is off again for this game, otherwise you get DMCA'd. So let's jump into it. Heads up, I'm not really going to talk about some elements of this game that are not in the racing have not dated very well. This is very mid-2000s, so I thought I'd just give that warning. We're going to do 3 races, and we'll just check out those, and I'll tell you all about it. Let's go to the first race. Okay, here we go. So this game also has a drift mode where you got different drift courses, but this is ranked races we're after racing, but the drift mode is excellent. I just want to give that as a side note. So this has licensed cars. A bit like the Need for Speed series, you can input them out and decorate them. There we go. Just jump in. There are other modes we can like bet on other races to see how well you think they're going to do. And you can accept these bet. Well, no, let's accept this bet challenge. And you can accept challenges like, hey, I'm gonna beat you in this race and I'll win however much money. As you can tell, I've played a lot of this game and I have a lot of money already, so I like the locations, I like the racing. This is the kind of game where I was like, man, I really wish they made a third one, but it was a THQ game, THQ, and it's kind of just like disappeared off the radar. I'm not even sure who currently owns the license, so we've got some different views as well. We've got an inside view here, I can't see anything view, close up to your car, so let's go here. Game does have a lot of motion blur, but I don't mind it too much. But it handles really, like, it is very arcadey feeling, but that's what I love about it. It does have a good arcade feel to it. Some races you have nitrous, others you don't. Some you have like maximum nitrous. We're just going to take a look at 3 races in this cup, just to give you an idea. Oh, there's also a way to psych other players that if you drive behind them long enough and the bar fills up, they go, oh no, I'm totally scared of you, and just like crash the car or swivel out the way. So that's a pretty nifty feature. Some good licensed music in this from what I can remember as well. Your usual thing you would expect from this type of street racing. So what was different as well in this game, it had like an online career where you do the normal races, but when you look for the race, you would see if anyone else was playing online. Now, because not many people play this online anymore, which it is very hard to find anyone else, that mode's kind of difficult to get through. I'd stick to the normal career mode if you were going to pick it up. Yeah, I suppose I've done the bet on. Let's see if we can psych them out. Oh no, I've just passed them. Usual slipstreaming and slingshotting yourself around races. Like I said, that psyching out feature is definitely unique. Now, I currently don't own the first use game, but it's definitely on my list to pick up at some point. Yeah, they give you a little bit of banter here and there, but I didn't find it too annoying in the time I've played it. But yeah, there's various leagues with like various tiers of cars. You go from like some slower cars and you build your way up to some really fast cars. Oh, we've got some nitrous to use actually now. Oh, no, we just passed one there. But yeah, just overall handles well, plays well. It's a blast to be honest. I kind of wish they'd make this backwards compatible. Every time I revisit this game, I'm like, yep, I definitely need to play some more at some point. Oh, that's me getting distracted there. But like I said, I wish they make a new one. I like the online feature idea. You just need more players playing it, because sometimes some missions you can't do unless you can find other players. And it's got some split screen in it as well, so. We also have like teammates in the crew, and you can build up like the DNA of like how you race. There's some races you do with your teammates as well, so that's kind of cool. And overall, this is like a style of game I wish would make a comeback. I like these individual tracks isn't like an open world thing. It's kind of weird, like Need for Speed's gone off a little bit. They've focused too much on open world, and you don't have such like good crafted tracks, so. I'm going to load the next race, our second race, and I'll be right back in a second. So another thing to mention as well, certain cars will have like what's called like, hey, this is a good drift rating car, And those are the cars particularly for drifting. We're just going to accept all these bets. Let's just see how it goes. When you get this far in the game, you got enough money. But earlier on in the game, you're like, oh, I don't want to gamble this money. There's like pink slip showdowns. If you're not sure what a pink slip is, it's basically where you're going to give up your car if you lose. You could win someone else's car. Those are in here as well. Like I said, it's got a good mixture. And there's some good tracks as well. Obviously, this cup is just centering around this location. I just wanted to show off some races. And after this race, for the third race, I'm actually going to drop out this cup and show a different location, because I thought this was going to show us some different locations, but it's clearly not. Now, the only thing that's missing is a quick way to just like, hey, I want to do one race in this location. So the single player career menus can be a bit of a mess. Like I said, that doesn't really hinder on this racing. Racing feels good, some good tracks. Get rid of this guy here. You can customize your car with decals, different paint jobs, different items. I don't know if I can rotate the camera to show you. Like, I got this decal on the side. That's one I did quickly yesterday, but you can really like customize them and do some multiple layers of stuff. So yeah, it's really good how you can like how personalized you can customize the car. And if you really like a car, in theory, some cars you can keep upgrading and go up the tiers, so you could stick with the same car. Now, I like to have a few cars in each tier just to give myself some variation, just in case you want to go back and finish any of the races you've not done. And get through here. Races all last like a good set of time, like the right amount of time, I think. Not too long, but not too short as well. There's right here. I'm not sure. I think the crowds are 3D models. I never really want to stop too long to have a look. I think a modern juice would benefit from like taking out some of the elements that are dated and maybe adding like a screenshot mode would be cool. Ooh. Come on. That's not a good place to use nitrous on this track, is it? But yeah, you get real good sense. The sense of speed in this game is top notch. I wish I hadn't crashed there. So there you go. It's knowing, oh, you really like to use nitrous a lot, so it's learning about when I'm using nitrous. It's kind of a bit like how Forza's driver tires came known to be. So this had a lot of good ideas going for it. Green. And like I said, I think the drift mode, which I'll probably make a separate video on at some point because it's that good. Probably one of the best drifting in games. Okay, here we come. Oh, one more lap. Like there's some sea settings. There's definitely setting in some like snowy town. I'm gonna have a look and see if I can find another good one after this race. Like I say, if you've played Juice 2, let me know in the comments. And also, how different is Juice 1? Because I haven't played Juice 1. Does it have a similar vibe to this, or did they really change it up for number 2? That'd be curious to see. And where would you stick drift? Where would you stick? Not drift. Where would you stick Juice 2 in the list? Also, what games do you think are good for, like, drift modes in particular? Which ones like, oh yeah, I really want to do the drifting in this? I think this is around about the time like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift came out. So this might be a few years after. I'm not sure when that film came out actually. But that really popularized drifting in games as well. Here we go. I found a snow-based track level just to show off the variations when it's not quite in a city street racing. Give it a variation of what it's like. There we go. Quite icy track as well, so it's gonna feel a little bit different. We've got some more races in this one as well. You can see it's got more of a countryside location. This game is definitely going for like organized street racing compared to like illegal street racing, so you're not going to see any like police in this game or anything. It's definitely a lot more icy though, I can tell you that. I find this game is relatively easy to keep control of your drifting as well, so. Oh. Yes, AI's got no problem being aggressive as well. Right, so I just spooked that guy. So they've just swerved out. Oh, man, some of the corners on this. I think performance-wise, this game overall holds up. There are some frame rate dips here and there, and some screen tearing. Not too often that I've noticed it. Now, like now, I'm looking out just to see if there is any, but there's a little bit, but nothing major, nothing that would hinder your experience of it. And like I said, you can customize like car parts and stuff to really suit how you want it to handle. But yeah, you can see how different like this track is compared to like the city track. And for a game of the time, I think it looks good. A little bit heavy on the motion blur occasionally, but overall pretty good. Once again, as always, every time I play this game, I'm like, man, I want to come back and play some more of this. Come on, right. One more lap here. So yeah, there's not much more else to say about it. I think it just holds up pretty well. Now, it's going to be hard to decide where to put in the list. And as always with this list, there are going to be games that I'm going to like regret going, man, would I put it before that or not? And there's some games of like different genres of racing, so it is a challenging thing to actually come up with an opinion going, do I prefer this game or do I think this game's a better racing game over, say, another one? So, but so far in this series, had like kart racers, futuristic racers, street racers, track racers. Do you mean? And it's just like, how do you make these decisions to where to put them on the list? So, like, I'm thinking about it now. Where would I want to put it on this list? Even now, I'm changing my mind maybe where I want to put it. There you go. Right, let's get our rankings up here, and we can decide where we're going to put it. So here we go. Now, in my head, I was going to put it between Ridge Racer 6 and Speed Racer. Now, the thing that makes me want to put it above Speed Racer, even though Speed Racer is so colorful, it's got cool tracks, I think being on the Wii, A, let it down, visually B, better, but we're not always about visuals here, because it's still pretty strong. It still looks relatively good for a Wii game. I think the thing that lets it down are the slightly awkward motion controls with no option for like buttons. Some of the flips and tricks, and even like the handling in general is not quite as accurate as that. It feels pretty good, but you would really want like, if there'd just been like a normal controller version that didn't have like your Wiimote up or down or left or right, I think it would be higher. So I'm going to put here, and might regret it, and if you disagree with me, let me know where you'd put in this, but I'm going to stick Juice 2 hot import noise, but we're going to call it HIN. In between Onrush and Speed Racer, to be honest. Let me put that in and I'll be right back. And we're back. So there you go. Juice 2 hot import night to the Xbox 360 is between Onrush and Speed Racer. Like I said, I was a little bit torn on that. That is a tricky one. I was actually thinking it's going to place that high up. I know other people going here like, I love Ridge Racer 6. That's got some issues with like, the drifting sometimes feels odd. I love it. And Wreckfest is the game that always throws me off. I was looking at this like going, why is Wreckfest there? I really want to love Wreckfest. I love destruction stuff. It's just something slightly off that I just not like. It's the type of game, if I was like make my ideal racing game, I'd be like, yeah, I want destruction and things blowing up on whatever. But it has to feel good, and I'm like, Wreckfest is one of these games I own, but for some reason I don't go back and play it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just awkward to play or there's something just slightly off. I don't know. I will play more of it at some point, but it doesn't grip me as much. I like a racing game where I'm like picking up, I'm like, yeah, I'm having an awesome race here. And like, you know what? Juice 2 does that. Some bits haven't aged so well. You have to look past that. But if we're looking purely on racing, kind of just have more fun. The controls are better. It just feels good. And that's what we're after. You want a race game that you can pick up and play. And consider its age, I'm always surprised how easy this is to still return to. So that just shows you, just because a racing game is like brand new, just came out like last year or something, or it came out 15 years ago or 20 years ago, it doesn't matter. On ranking races, your racing game can be any age, and there's a chance for it to reach up here. Doing, if you're looking at it right now, Mario Kart 7 is a portable racing game. It's not even on a mainstream console, portable console yet. I have it ranked as the highest one on here so far, so that just shows you everything. And yet we've got an Xbox One game right at the bottom of the list. So anything can happen. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to our patrons. Let us know in the comments below where you think I should have stuck Space Ribbon and Juice 2. And where how would you rank these racing games I've got on my list? What would be your top 3? So I'm always going to see we have over 100 racing games to get through. We've got through a little bit of a chunk here, but we still got many to get. And there's always new racing games or old racing games that we have yet to buy that we will buy and add to the list. So join us next time at Ranking of Races. I've been Panda. Thank you to our lovely patrons out there who help support and keep the channel running. You can help support us on Patreon. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell for all new videos. We do appreciate it very much. And we'll see you next time. Bye.